your results, okay? Guys, I love Beachbody. I love the leaders that are a part of this organization. I love what you guys are about. I really do. I'm not just saying that. Okay, so I'll give you a recording of this entire presentation so that you can share with your team. So for now, I just want you to listen really intently and say, what things strike you? What are those aha moments like, that's it? Okay, that was the last number I needed in the tumbler to unlock my potential. Okay, so just really be here with me, figure out what the one or two things, and you'll have all this backup for you later. So here's the operating system, okay? Between you and whatever goal you've got is this operating system. And line item by line item, we're going to rewire the code system to your operating system. Get it operating at world-class standards. No matter what your goal is, fund your kids' college fund, retire your parents, buy a new car, home, travel, get to the top of this organization is on the other side of this operating system. So let's start at the very baseline. What is the root control factor for all your results in life? If I were to boil down the principles of success down to one thing, the core, where it all begins, where it all emanates from, what is that? In other words, we all come into this world exactly the same. Naked, scared, and ignorant. Some of us a little uglier. I mean, you saw my baby photo, right? Didn't start out good. And then what you do thereafter defines the outcomes of your life. So ask yourself, what's the one thing that determines whether at the end you end up living here or you end up living here? There's only one thing. There's only one thing that will determine the difference between whether you end up driving this or whether you end up driving this. After you come in naked, scared, and ignorant, you are either going to end up in a long life where at the end you end up broke, despondent, and lonely, or you end up in a marriage of 50 years of incredible bliss and deep intimacy. Or D, you're either going to be able to send your children to the greatest universities in the world, or no matter what it is they qualify for, they can't go because you can't afford to send them. Only one thing will determine whether you can donate to your charity to your greatest heart's content, travel the world in fantastic luxury. As Curly from City Slicker said, right? It all comes down to the one thing. What's the one thing? Holy crap, I'm glad I came today. Your entire life is going to come down to one thing, and you don't know what the one thing is. Here's what it is. It all comes down to choices. Right now, as you sit there in this chair, right now, you are nothing but the accumulated compound effect of the choices you've made up to this point. Your whole life is nothing but that. Your waistline is nothing but the accumulated compound effect of the choices you've made up to this point. The intimacy of the relationships in your life, nothing but the accumulated compound effect of the choices you've made. Your income, the size of your organization, your bank account, nothing but the accumulated compound effect of the choices you've made. So if we're going to change the trajectory of your life, starting today, we have to go down to the core root cause of it all, and that is your choices. So now you might be asking, so choice is the first line of code in the operating system. You might be asking, what choices? Because we're faced with hundreds of choices all day throughout the day. What choices matter the most? How many people here have ever been bitten by an elephant? No? Mosquito. Anybody ever been bitten by a mosquito? It's considered to be the #1 deadliest animal on the planet to the human species. See, nature provides clues. It's always the little things in life that will bite you and ultimately get you. The question I'm asked most often is, okay, you see these people that are in the cover of Success magazine. There's 7 billion people on the planet, and we only get to pick 12 each year to be on the cover of Success magazine. So the question is what is it that these 12 people did differently than 7 billion to get them on the cover of Success magazine? So let me first start with the things that they didn't do, because these are the myths that people believe these people did in order to get on the cover of Success magazine. So here's not the key to their great success. Any heroic feats. Nobody you see on the cover of Success magazine would be deemed a hero. They didn't do anything heroic. They also didn't perform any grand acts of bravery. This is another legend and myth in American culture, which is just leap and hope that the net appears. Oh, don't do that! Because you'll bounce really hard. Uh-oh. I just crushed my dealio. Let me go fix that. See what happens when you leap? All right. Good? They did not have any quantum leap. You know, that thing where right place, right time, just all a matter of factor of timing. There wasn't any quantum leaps involved. And here's what it was a result of. If you want to know how to get on the cover of Success Magazine or any fantastic success, this is the formula. Success is a result of small, seemingly insignificant, in the moment to moment choices. Small little choices like, hey, at lunch, you go into a restaurant, you're presented with a menu, and a menu is what? Just a whole collection of choices. Do you choose the hamburger and fries, or do you choose the salad? Now that doesn't seem to be like a Success Magazine cover a worthy decision. I'm telling you, it is. Small little choices like, oh, now you're going to be thick, huh? At the end of a long, hard day, do you stop by the gym and put in a workout, or do you rush home to catch your favorite sitcom? Dances with the Stars, or American Idol, or all the rest of this, where you watch other people living out their dream. Small choices like in the middle of an argument, do you spin on your heels and say, I've had enough, I'm not talking to you anymore, and walk out of the room? Or do you spin on your heels, say you're sorry, and choose to make a moment of magic? Small little choices like in a networking event, do you walk across the room and introduce yourself to that person that you're intimidated to meet? Or do you hunker down in fear one more time? Small choices like at the end of a long day, do you put in a few more calls? Or do you simply just call it a day? You see, these small choices add up to big differences in results. Let me give you a for instance. If I gave you the choice of a penny, a copper penny that doubles every day for 31 days, or $1 million in cash right now, how many people picked $1 million in cash?
No. No.
Okay, tough crowd. All right, let me sweeten the outlook. Yeah, all right, well for those who haven't, look, it's good. If you've been to the movie, don't shout it out to the rest of the room. All right, 2 million, anybody at 2 million? There's a time when this math's going to change on you here, right? 3 million, how many people picked 3 million over the penny? Well, you're so smart, you knew, but your neighbor did not know. So let's take the difference between you and your neighbor, right? Because this is the way, and what I want you to discover is not the actual math, but the experience that goes along with the process of making one choice over another. You see, let's say you pick the penny, and you're 5 days into it, and your lousy penny is only 16 cents. Meanwhile, your neighbor is partying like a rock star next to you because they picked $3 million. And you're going, this doesn't seem like a wise choice. 10 days later, your penny's turned into $5.12, not enough for a Happy Meal, not that you'd ever order one of those. But your neighbor is out on the water on a yacht with Robin Leach, drinking champagne, having caviar wishes, right? Day 20, your penny's $5,242. All along the way, they got $3 million having a grand old time. Well, you know, and wise enough to know, that your penny at the end of 31 days turns to $10,737,000. Now here's the key point. This is the reason why Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Because the math between day 1 and day 2 is exactly the same math between day 30 and day 31. But the results that are visible are dramatically different. Which means that the choices you're going to make here today, this afternoon, is the same choices you'll make 20 years down the road. But the differences that those choices will have on the compound effect of your results will be dramatically different. More practically put, 3 friends start out exactly the same place. They all make $50,000 a year, they moved to the suburbs, they bought a house, white picket fence, 2.2 children, right? They're all starting off exactly the same. Now, Scott goes through the airport, finds a Success Magazine tucked in the backseat of a pocket of a plane, not something he'd normally read. He starts flipping through it, gets inspired to try a couple of things. Here's what Scott's going to do. Instead of getting up in the morning and reading about all the murders, tragedies, and corruption that's happening in the world, in the newspaper, he's going to get up and just read 10 pages of a good book every single night. Every morning, something positive, something instructional, something informative. Instead of listening to drive time yak radio on the way to the office, he's going to put in a CD, something positive, something inspirational, something that is instructional for him. He's going to take 125 calories out of his diet. That's it. That's half a candy bar or a small bowl of cereal. No rash diet. He's not going to go on some incredible fitness program. He's going to drink 2 bottles of water a day. He's going to park at the back of the parking lot and walk in. He's going to miss a few. He's going to make a few more calls at the end of the day. And he's finally going to make his weekly date night with his wife a priority. Okay? That's all Scott's going to do. That's his entire success plan. Now, how many people believe they could do Scott's plan? Not easy, right? Now, Larry's just going to keep being Larry, okay? Larry's like most people, status quo. Brad's just going to start making some slight, seemingly insignificant poor choices. Here's what he's going to do. He's going to munch on a little bit of junk food around the office. You know the chocolate-covered pretzels at the end of the secretary's desk? A half a handful of chocolate-covered peanut M&Ms. That's all he's going to add into his diet. He's going to miss a couple of workouts a week. He's going to drink more Diet Coke than water, God forbid. He's going to move around a little less because he's working at his computer most of the day. He's going to skip a prospecting call or two. And he's going to give the cold shoulder to the spouse, to his wife at home, just a few times throughout the week. No big deal. We're not going to call Jerry Springer over to come and fulfill this domestic situation. Just a cold shoulder a few times throughout the week. Now, as you start to add up the differences between these choice structures, here's what it starts to look like. 5 months down the road, absolutely no difference between these 3 friends. 10 months down the road, absolutely no difference, mathematically, visible, or otherwise. Now, Scott's going, what is going on? I'm reading this book every morning, I'm listening to these CDs, I'm doing this damn date night every week with my wife. My buddies are sloughing off, and we have exactly the same results. You can see how people get faked out. Now, 20 months down the road, 20 months of these sustained choice structures, slight, Brad's starting to feel the belt a little bit, tension and anxiety started to set in at the office, apathy has started to set in at home. Now, the neighbors and friends, they really can't tell, but there's just an undercurrent that started to take place. It's not until 27 months down the road that the differences between these 3 friends are dramatic. Let's add 7 months. He's read 47 books on success and achievement. Now, most people who graduate with a university degree don't read 3 books the rest of their entire life. He read 47 in 27 months. Listened to 465 hours of success and achievement audio just while driving around the last 27 months. The 125 calories he cut out of his diet means that he lost 33.5 pounds. I spent the day with Dr. Oz a few months ago. Do you realize that we can end, this is what he said, we can end obesity in America today if everybody just took the 125 calories off their base diet. That's all it takes. Drinking more water, he drank 3,700 gallons of water. He walked 900 miles, which means he lost another 30 pounds. The 125 date nights with the wife, I had photos with that. It got risque, let me say. He made 1,860 extra calls that he wouldn't have made if he closed 3% of those, which means he didn't learn anything from those books or audios. He increased on top of his $50,000 a year income an additional $279,000. How small, seemingly insignificant, and easy choices add up over time. Now, Larry is like most people in America, just doing what he's always been doing, treading water, falling a little bit further behind, becoming disenchanted, bored, apathetic, and passionless, and blaming Obama, right? Brad's results look like this. The 125 calories he added to his diet means that he added 33.5 pounds. Missed a couple of workouts, more Diet Coke, now he's under cardiac arrest danger. Missed a few meetings, made a few less calls, now he's on the verge of being fired or under financial emergency. The inattention and cold shoulder to the spouse means that apathy is deep and he's on the brink of divorce. Small, poor choices added up over time.